The United States has celebrated Columbus Day on the second Monday of October since 1971. Christopher Columbus's brutal treatment of Native people in the Americas, however, has led many to rethink honoring the explorer. According to Indigenous Peoples Day, MA.org, over 24 towns and cities in Massachusetts have officially embraced Indigenous Peoples Day. At the state level, a bill seeking to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day is currently pending in the legislature for the third session. Needham is also considering whether to join the growing movement. Municipal producer Yu Xiaoyuan brings us the details.
On Tuesday, November 28th, the Select Board listened to resident opinions on whether they want to observe Indigenous Peoples Day instead and how they would like to recognize the holiday.
Question that's on the table now that this board will consider is whether we should change to Indigenous Peoples Day, whether we might celebrate both, or whether we would not make any change. We would just continue for the town to celebrate Columbus Day.
Select Board Chair Marian Cooley began by providing a historical context to the establishment of Columbus Day. Initially, Columbus Day was primarily celebrated to recognize the contributions of Italian Americans, particularly during periods when Italian immigrants faced substantial violence and discrimination.
They were celebrating Italian heritage at that time, not specifically focused again on Christopher Columbus.
Residents who spoke during the hearing generally agreed that Indigenous Peoples Day should be recognized in Needham. However, opinions on whether Columbus Day should be removed were divided. Advocates for the change expressed antipathy about the impact Christopher Columbus' arrival had on Native Americans.
Celebrating Columbus and other explorers like him dismissed the devastating losses experienced by Indigenous peoples of the Western Hemisphere.
The Columbus name is toxic. It is a serious problem, and it's the wrong type of history to cling to.
On the other hand, opponents, some with Italian heritage, argue that Columbus Day holds cultural significance for Italian Americans.
I don't have any problem with having two holidays, but to cancel a holiday, to allow another holiday when the contributions that were made by Italian Americans, that's their symbol is Columbus.
The reason why I'm in this country is because going to school in Italy, we talked about it was history taught us that Cristoforo Colombo discovered this great country, and that inspired me and every other Italian to come here.
Some propose the establishment of an Italian-American Heritage Day instead of continuing the celebration of Columbus Day.
The amount of pride the Italian Americans have should be honored, and I see it, and that's something that it's beautiful. It's the name Columbus that it's tied to. And being part of our community and on this land and country means understanding and respecting our history and where we came from. We cannot change history, but we don't have to continue teaching or preaching the stuff that wasn't good just because we're used to it.
The board plans to continue this discussion at its next meeting on December 5th and is open to receiving written comments. It's worth noting that in 2021, prompted by a student petition, the school committee voted to rename Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. For the Needham Channel News, I'm Yu Xiaoyuan.